Ladies and gentlemen, your 2000.
The iconic Kodak building rises above Rochester, New York, where tonight the United Soccer League Game of the Week comes on the air on ESPN3. It's the Rowdies of Tampa Bay on the road to take on the Rhinos of Rochester. Hello, everybody. Mike Watts joined by former Virginia Tech outside back Morgan Conklin. And Morgan, few players are better associated with just one team than Georgie Ristoff with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And just 2 games ago, he became the team's most capped player in style.
And in that same game 11 days ago against Louisville, he added his 5th goal of the season. It all started with a beautiful ball laid in by Joe Cole. Ristoff takes on Kyle Smith 1v1, gets the lucky bounce, no need to take a touch, finds the far post with that curling ball.
No luck at all on the finish for Georgie Ristoff. On the other side, for success in Rochester, Kenardo Forbes is a big name.
And a bit of an underrated player within the league. He's played every minute so far for Rochester this year, connected 85% of his passes, which really backs up Bob Lilly's claim that when this team is playing their best, they're playing through Forbes.
Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Sam, for Tampa Bay, 2 changes. Joe Cole did not travel. Chavez is out with a toe injury. Who stands out to you?
Well, a name that's very familiar for Tampa Bay fans, Marcel Schaefer in the midfield. He played 3 games at left back when Luke Bowden was out with an illness at the end of April. They kept him at left back as they won, so they wanted to keep the consistency. Obviously, both are healthy. Schaefer has found his way back to the midfield, Bowden back to left back.
Well, the Rowdies do have 4 consecutive unbeaten. For Rochester, 4 changes from their 1-1 draw on Sunday against the Kickers.
And they have the 3 center backs playing in that back line. Wallfall is back this week in his central midfield role. His best attribute is gathering the ball and playing out of pressure. That's going to be a big key for Rochester tonight.
Essentially, that's a 5-man back line. Rochester, Tampa Bay coming up.
It's hard to keep. Everybody wants a piece of you. So don't lose it. Take your time. Work hard. Don't give up. And when your moment comes, breathe through. And focus.
We built the USL into the largest Division II professional soccer league in the world. And now the time has come to announce USL Division III, America's professional 3rd Division league, completing the U.S. pro soccer landscape. It's time for your town, your team, your game. D3 will fuel local pride and local passion, creating a new legacy for the beautiful game and inspiring its tribal following across the country. This is professional soccer, built on a disciplined financial model and operational excellence, featuring exciting venues to thrill fans in hungry new markets yearning for the game. USL Division III, professional, passionate, proven. Pro soccer starts here, coming in 2019. For more information, visit USLD3.com.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
The Rochester Rhinos getting ready to take on the Tampa Bay Rowdies, 2 of the most historic soccer names in the United States, on the USL Game of the Week on ESPN3. And one of the USL's most storied franchises added another star to its crest just 2 short years ago. It was October 16th of 2015, Salem Stadium. Asani Samuel scores twice in second-half stoppage time to equalize, and then in the 113th minute, Kenardo Forbes connecting on the corner kick, finding Samuels out of Canisius College, beating Bennett Sneddon, And picking up a 2-1 win over LA Galaxy 2. Morgan, couldn't ask for better service than what Canardo Forbes gives there, right?
Within the 6, a beautiful header to go up, but what a great ball in by Forbes. You know that's something that he remembers to this day.
One of the major names in this Rhinos organization now for 3 years as the teams have arrived on the field in the white, gold, and green. It's the Rochester Rhinos, the home side, touching the Tampa Bay Rowdies touch first in what are basically similar colors. It's the black jerseys for Rochester tonight. And there he is, Canardo Forbes, the captain's armband for Rochester this evening. They come in 10th in the East, but with games in hand on everybody. 6 games played in the short season for the Rhinos. Five-man back line tonight, Morgan, for this Rochester team that spoke often about wanting to be the aggressor in this game. But with 3 center backs, you could see this going one of 2 ways.
Yeah, you obviously have your 3 center backs there that are staying. Todd Pratzner found his way into the lineup with the 3, but then you have your wide backs, wide mids who can go forward but also have a lot of defensive responsibilities.
It was James who got a piece of that and knocked it towards the area. It's a throw for James, who's playing that wing back position, making his 7th start in as many games for Rochester. Comes to Johan Groff. Bounds into the area and comes down to Matt Pickens, who makes the start, his 7th of the season. And the foul just shy of midfield as the Rowdies get their first taste of the ball nearing the end of the 2nd minute. Bowden puts it in play and knocks it back. You mentioned it in the open, Morgan. Dealt with an illness, and finally fully healthy. Got the opportunity to play in the US Open Cup and then back into the League 18 as well. Forbes. There's Wall Fall back from his 1-game suspension. A throw to Tampa Bay. Deshaun Brown touching now to Vingard. There's Damian Lowe. Darwin Jones takes the high hop. He took an odd skip off the turf and goes out for a goal kick.
And that's a difficult ball to see where it's going to go on a windy day like today. So he wasn't able to bring it down. It takes the bounce, and then you're kind of chasing, trying to catch up to the ball because you can't exactly see where it's going to go at that point.
Tomas Gomez. The Golden Gloves last year in the United Soccer League. A goal against average below 7/10. Forbes' back pass is taken just in the nick of time by Pratzner.
Can already see Fall just on the ball a lot. That's something that Rochester felt they were missing a little bit last week with his absence against Richmond. He just works hard to get on the ball, and he really does a good job of connecting and switching fields and playing out of pressure.
Pressure coming now from Canardo Forbes, although Bowden will take over again. Brought down by Forbes, played further by Dover. Forbes overlapping and into the attack. And Marcel Schaefer pokes it out. Belongs now to Rochester. It's a corner kick.
We've seen this before.
Yeah, that's right. Kennardo Forbes, that game-winning assist in the 2015 USL Cup final. Wearing the captain's armband now and drives the ball across the face of goal. Joe Farrell was the target, and it'll belong to Tampa Bay.
Forbes taking advantage of the wind. He hit that ball higher than you would normally want a corner hit, but he knew it was going to hang up in the air. Tried to find his target backing up for the header. Didn't work out, but you see them there trying to take advantage of it because he knew the ball was going to be caught up in the wind.
Matt Pickens in the end didn't need to make a stop. Does line the ball out to midfield. Off the head of wall fall. Forbes sneaks by his man. Still driving through ball. Groff is offside. Pickens made the save anyway. Well, we wondered if Rochester really would be the aggressor in the opening minutes, and right now they've had more of the ball.
Well, in talking with Coach Lilly earlier this week, that was a key that they need was a good high-energy start. He said we have to get going early. They don't have a lot of rest. They're coming off a Sunday game against Richmond, going against a Tampa team that played Friday, so that's a big difference. But he said they have to push through it. We have to bring the energy, especially from the beginning, and it's been nice to see that so early in the game, pushing players forward. Forbes already making his mark in this game, quick on the sideline. It's been nice to see.
Morgan, I'm glad you mentioned the rest aspect because playing college soccer is perhaps the most interesting difference in number of days off between games because you can play Friday, Sunday, or Thursday, Sunday, or get a bye week and play once every 7 days.
And it's one of those things, if you're not used to playing, if you're used to playing once a week like these teams often are, when you have a really short turnaround, it is different and it's challenging. You have to learn how to recover, if you can even recover. It's definitely something to take into consideration. It's nice that Rochester, for their quick turnaround, that they've been home for both games, but it's still difficult.
Run up the wing from Deshaun Brown, tried to cut it across the grain and kicked out by Pratzner. Of course, for Tampa Bay, they were up in Toronto on Friday, and they found a nice direct flight down to Tampa, and so they took it. They flew back down to St. Petersburg, were able to get a practice session in at home, took Sunday off entirely, and flew up to Rochester yesterday.
Completely different than what this Rochester team, who was playing Sunday. Talking with Coach Stu, he said he told his guys Sunday to get away from soccer. He said, see your family, lay on the couch, get away from soccer. So really two total different ways these two teams have just been forced to get ready for this game in terms of scheduling.
Yeah, Stu Campbell just called it an ideal situation as Fall plays out of that pressure that was coming from Martin Vingard and slid up the line again, but too far. A throw to Tampa Bay. Hey fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast on Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. And SiriusXM FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. Through ball towards Groff, takes a deflection that bounds across the top of the 18-yard box, and sprinting ahead are the Rowdies in the 9th minute of play. Played back by King. And Michael Anshoff, who stepped in for the injured Justin Chavez in just the 24th minute against Toronto FC2. Is on the ball, 23 in white. Damian Lowe, and it's kicked through by Goff on a poor turnover. Goff is off on the loose, but turned away by Lowe. Just a bit of miscommunication. Can Rochester truly make Tampa Bay pay? Now into the 10th minute. James's pass was tipped. Fall steps into Vingard, and that could have been disaster for Tampa Bay.
It's not clean enough in the midfield for Tampa Bay. They had that miscommunication, but then just too many giveaways, small passes that aren't connecting.
Darwin Jones turning back onto the ball, and off of Fall, Pratzner plays it across, and taken by Ryan James.
Mike, we talked early in the open about the importance of Fall in this game as he's able to play out of pressure. Just if you just look at the screen, you can just see how congested the midfield is, with Rochester playing the 3 center backs but then pushing their wide wings, outside backs higher. The sheer numbers both teams are playing with in the midfield, it's so congested there, so it makes it more difficult to play through.
James into that congested midfield, and Wall slides to keep possession for the Rhinos. 4 straight unbeaten all competitions, but they've played just 6 games in the league. That's them further down on the table than points per game might indicate. As Forbes' ball off the head of Georgi Hristov. Groff getting behind the defense again, cuts the ball across towards Bohemia. Bob Lilly wanted his team to be proactive. They've done well in the early going against this Rowdies side that's playing inspired of late, but has struggled on the road statistically over the course of the last year or so. Lifted over the top, Ryan Bohemia the target. He brought it down, but was offside.
And I said it a couple minutes ago, but I'm so impressed just with the energy that Rochester is bringing. You talked about our conversation with Coach Lilly. He flat out said, he said, Tampa's good. We don't need to tell our team that. He said, this Tampa Bay team is good. And he knew that they needed to match the energy, as Tampa Bay is a high energy team as well. He said, we have to bring our energy, and it has to be from the beginning. And they've done that so far.
Headed back to Nanshoff, one of the top chance creators in the league. In this case, tabled out from under him. Off playing back. Lilly made no mistake in our talk this week, said everybody has their eyes on Tampa Bay, said they would be there at the end over the course of this season. The first year in the United Soccer League, one of the most historic franchises in North American soccer. Carried by Farrell. Another direct ball, and the sunlight in the eyes of Canardo Forbes, who shielded his eyes away. Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Roth deked away from his pressure. Off the head of Joe Farrell, son of the longtime coach of the LaSalle Explorers. Vingard just got that by the outstretched foot of Bohemia. Now a little bit of space for the Rowdies to exploit. King. Jones gives it chase, but won't find the ball before the end line.
Fans stay up to date with the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 on Sirius XM FC Channel 85.
Gomez, a couple of shutouts on the season. Brandon Miller won the league's Goalkeeper of the Year award in 2015. Gomez was on the roster, split the games last year, finds himself the starter in this season with Dan Lind sitting behind him. Pratzner up the line, played in towards Forbes. Dover to throw, first pro contract for the Canadian. King trying to carry the ball forward off of Bohemia. Did James touch it last? No, it was Nanshoff.
A great tackle by Bohemia. Gets the ball completely. Gets on the inside, which you don't always see that with a tackle, but very smart. Keeps his eye on the ball and just completely gets ball, which is fantastic coming in at that angle.
Really difficult angle where you could very easily get the Achilles, the back of the heel on a player like that.
Well, and normally why those tackles are called for fouls is because players come, Bohemia went on the outside for that tackle. Normally players come from the inside, so they get more of the body, but he went right to the outside where the ball was.
James trying to get by King. Low, fakes out Groff. Brown tried to play it through. Long run now for Felix. And Gomez clears the danger. Boy, that wind really snapped the ball back. We're looking for the handball against Jones. Play kept alive and bounded across the face of goal. Headed back, and Gomez controls.
I'd like to see as this game progresses, it's still so early, but just for Tampa Bay to just build up. They've had a couple opportunities. They've tried to find Jones in the corner, the right corner a couple times. It's been overhit. That last ball just first time doesn't need to be played first time. If they can just settle it once they build forward, it's not easy because Rochester has so many numbers, but if they can build and wait the passes, they'll be in better luck.
Jordan Dover into the 18-yard box. Taken off his foot, but the clearance deflects out. Comes to Jones. Blasted towards Brown, who's calling for a foul that Joe Farrell apparently didn't concede. A Rowdies offense that scored 16 times. Sixth most in the United Soccer League. Group that's just outside the top 10 in chance conversion as well. Ball popped away from Groff. Schaefer tried to run on the inside, back for Bowden. Forbes races out of the midfield. Played ahead by Neil Collins. Now Bowden playing with Schaefer. Vingard. Long ball up the opposite wing. Jones spun out before he could get his feet back. And back by Bohemia.
Beautiful ball in by Vingard, but the way he was able to find that space and get the ball off of Collins allowed them to break that Rochester pressure and then go forward quickly. That's something they were missing, was a little bit of movement off the ball to find the ball in space and then be able to go forward.
Rochester possessing in the 19th minute. Lifted upfield by Felix. Johan Groff collapsing to the ground, and a free kick given to Rochester. They moved like they wanted to go quickly, but play is going to come back.
Low, getting a little too handsy. The final hip check is, I think, what put that one over the edge with Groff going down to the ground. He already has 4 yellow cards on the season. He needs to be careful. If he gets one more, he's going to have to miss the next game in terms of card accumulation. So those unnecessary fouls he has to be careful of.
And they'll be hosting St. Louis on May 27th at Al Lang Stadium. They'd like to do it with their starting center back. Well, Canardo Forbes is a dangerous free kick taker. Forbes lines it across the face of goal. Low. Not the best clearance, and Rochester coming in waves now. Pratzner. Christoph. Back out to Ryan Felix. Forbes. Rushing back on to Nanshoff. who begins to dribble ahead but comes to Farrell. Ryan Felix, a great camp after moving on from Orange County at the end of last season. Jones dispossessed by James. Leukemia, and now Forbes turns, drives back to his right foot and plays it wide. Dover dropping it back for Fall. Plays it over the top with too much pace, and Pickens there to corral it.
Too much pace is right. It was a nice build-up.
Pickens lost it. It's still loose. It comes to Dover. He put it over the top. How did that happen?
It looked like Pickens went to play it but tried to fake it and didn't get the ball all the way out. But Dover trying to take advantage of that poor clearance, poor distribution. I like him taking that early shot. Why not? He's got under it too much. Goalkeeper out of position, still trying to get his bearings back after that, but almost a lucky break for Rochester.
Oh, man. I haven't seen anything quite like that if it had landed in the back of the net.
And I'm sure Pickens is extremely happy it didn't. That's not something he wants to relive. I'm sure he will on film, but at least it didn't turn out to be a goal against.
Yeah, that has potential to have nightmare written all over it. Not the case here for the Rowdies. Nanshoff stripped it away from Garzi. Tries to turn the corner. Garzi slid in, and Dover plays to Forbes. Schaefer going shoulder to shoulder. Stays with the Rhinos.
I love that from Garzi. Gets dispossessed, stays with it, tracks back his player, and then picks the ball off for himself, is able to go the other way. I love seeing players. It happens all the time. Unnecessary turnovers or bad passes, but when you see players work hard to get it back, I think that's such a key.
Jones running through the defense and widening play out. Two Rhinos collapse in on him, and James took it away. Leukemia, the give and go, and into space go the Rhinos. Groff turning, Collins arriving on the scene, but Groff takes it away. Back now for Fall. Forbes was sprinting into open space, but comes to Nanshoff. Schaefer, watch out. He didn't take it there. We had spoken with Coach this week about shots from that kind of distance. As Farrell slides in, he hit a 40-yard bomb against Cincinnati earlier this year, and he said, we told him to never take that shot again.
I couldn't help but laugh at that. I would say the same thing. Why ever try another shot from that distance? It was beautiful.
You'll never do it again if you try. I mean, you might, but the chances that you miss so drastically.
The chances that look terrible compared to actually hitting that again, I don't think I would take another shot.
No. Schaefer, the Wolfsburg legend, had it on his left foot. Maybe that's not where he wanted it. As that turned over, and an opportunity now for Brown. It's possessed by James. Jones got a piece. James clears the danger. Forbes heads it into Groff, who continues past Lowe. And Groff tries to slip it through for Forbes, who's chasing down Pickens, and calmly plays it out. The back pass that has Forbes stepping forward, and Rowdies right now a little out of sorts.
Both teams way too casual with the ball at their feet. Passes are not being connected. They're not snapped in. Way too casual on both sides. Too many turnovers that are unnecessary that are giving each opposing team some really good chances going forward.
As Schaefer plays it over to Collins. Forbes tries to step in on the center defender. All the way back to Matt Pickens, his fourth year with the Rowdies organization.
Lowe trots ahead. There's King.
Fans, be sure to join us later tonight here in the stadium for a special post-match party at the Genesee Brewhouse Beer Garden right here at Capelli Sports Stadium.
It's Nanshoff.
Nanshoff
Nanshoff with his left. Rung it off the post that holds the net up. Not a bad idea from Michael Nanshoff. Walsh Jesuit High School, University of Akron. Really put it in from that distance.
There's just been too many goals across the league at this point scored from that distance. I think no team whatsoever can give a player too much space around the top of the box. We've seen too many beautiful finishes. That was almost another. Defenses have to step and close that space.
As the foul given, Schaefer put his foot up. And speaking of our official, today's match plays an important role in the close partnership between Major League Soccer and the USL to test the use of a video assistant referee, or VAR. VAR will be implemented during key match-changing situations and serious missed incidents on the field. For more information on VAR, its use in this match, uslsoccer.com/VAR. The slip ball out over the end line was deflected on the way. They won't need Guido Gonzalez, who is the 5th official in this game, the VAR official, to look at that. Another chance here for Canardo Forbes.
And I'm interested to see how he hits this ball. The last one had a lot of air under it, caught up in the wind. I'd like to see this one a little more driven into the box because this Rochester team has targets.
Forbes, a little more on a line this time. Falls for Fall! Saved by Pickens. The rebound is cashed in. Wall Fall returns for the Rhinos and cashes in. But he's down with an injury. Swinging from greatest excitement to down on the turf. 27th minute, 1-0 to Rochester.
And what a way for him just to stay with it. As I said, they have the targets. Fall gets up for the first, gets the shot off, deflects right back to him, is able to find the back of the net.
And to finish this while clearly injured.
And the first save by Pickens was so great, but the way the ball came right back out to Fall. But as you said, he's limping afterwards. I'm sure he didn't feel that, though, as he was shooting the ball, putting it in the back of the net.
Wall Fall scores his first of the year, the 24-year-old who scored such a massive goal against Red Bull New York 2 in the quarterfinals last year in the playoff run. And that'll get out. A foul, it appears, was issued prior as Darwin Jones was battling for position. Pardon for Fall, that's his 3rd goal of the season. An opportunity here on the touchline for Nanshoff. Nanshoff winds that towards the net. It came to Gomez, and that would have been on frame with the curl.
I love that ball in by Nanshoff. The whip that it had and the pace that it had. Tampa Bay didn't have a runner to get in front of the goalkeeper. That's what would have been the difference maker there. But what a ball played in. Beautiful whip coming in. They just didn't have anyone on the end of it.
Nanshoff fouled by Felix. And it was just a week ago, really just a couple days ago, on Sunday, that Richmond's Raul Gonzalez scored on a misdirection free kick. Had Tomas Gomez guessing. And this time is not the malcontent of the bunch, as he was able to handle it on the opposite post. Well, now another free kick opportunity in a much different place on the field, Morgan.
Obviously being central brings so many more different options compared to being wide. Wide, you really want to whip that in, try to find a runner, maybe look on frame if you can, but centrally it's difficult. You might have to loft it up and look for a runner who can then have a misdirection the other way.
Nanshoff off the head of Collins. He wasn't able to keep that. And it looks like a corner going to Tampa Bay, as it did take a deflection on the way out. This will be their third set piece opportunity in a 2-minute stretch. Nanshoff, 2 assists on the season. Nanshoff headed right to Gomez. Looked like Neil Collins who whipped that on goal. And Gomez up to the task.
Great service once again from Nanshoff. You could hear the snap of the ball there from Collins. Just, he's big, he got up for it, wasn't able to push it to the corner, but that's a great header. Using his size, getting up for it.
He leads the team in aerial duels won, for whatever that's worth. As Opta giving strong numbers to the 6'3", 33-year-old. I asked this week about Neil Collins a little bit with Coach Stu Campbell. My eyes are just drawn to him as a central defender, and you were asking about the center back pairing with him and Lowe, and he just described how different the two players are as the Rowdies converge and strip the ball away. Lowe, the athletic one. Collins, so strong in the air, so physical when he needs to be. Here's Luke Bowden, the former Orlando City defender. Deshaun Brown tries to skip by with the ball. He left it behind for a teammate. Vingard, experience in Europe's highest levels of international club competition, as the ball booted away from James. Schaefer. This is Nanshoff. Knocked off the ball by Wall. Comes back to Nanshoff. Slides away from Farrell and slips it outside. Bowden plays the cross. That clearance not nearly good enough. Comes now for King. Plays it to the top of the area. Slipped through by Vingard. Slid to Jones. Kept alive for the Rowdies, but the ball trick falls to the foot. Bohemia. And now Forbes on the counterattack. Overrun by King, but playing it wide to Jordan Dover. Sliding challenge from Ristoff. A card is coming. A yellow, the all-time modern era leader in goals and appearances for the Rowdies.
Definitely a foul. Ristoff completely gets the leg from behind.
Number 10, Georgie Ristoff. Caution issued in the 33rd minute.
So Ristoff picks up yellow card number 4 of the year. And an opportunity for the Rhinos again on a set piece. They scored on a corner in the 27th minute on what's a gorgeous evening in Rochester, New York. One of the finest soccer-specific stadia in the country, Capelli Sports Stadium. Tremendous renovations over the past couple of off seasons. The Rhinos Park. And meanwhile, bit of a slowdown here. Matthew Franz has arrived back into the picture, the referee. Well, now they'll give it a go. Canardo Forbes bounces off of Groff and comes to Pickens. Hey fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast, Mondays 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. And don't forget, SiriusXM-FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. Ball played with malaise. Lowe playing that into the bench of the Rowdies. Forbes overrun. And this is a Rhinos team. We spoke with Coach Bob Lilly, who won the 2015 title with this team. They had a long unbeaten run. Said in the last 20 games last year, we lost just once. And through 6 games this year, just 1 loss. They're so hard to break down.
And it's almost not fair to say that they're the 10th ranked team in the Eastern Conference. They've only played 6 games. They're still early in their season. If you look at it in the big scheme of things, still trying to figure things out compared to a Tampa Bay team that's playing in their 11th game. So it's so difficult to just look at those standings and say that they're struggling.
Ball is lifted up and over. It was a missile, misguided in the end, as Darwin Jones had split to the left-hand side. Well, and certainly they are not the leading points per game getter through 6 games, but when you have 4 in hand on teams at the top of the table, you still have to go get those points, but they're still there for you. Charleston and Tampa Bay atop the Eastern Conference right now. Charleston will play tomorrow morning, so if Tampa Bay were to take the lead in the East tonight, it may be short-lived, as the Battery could jump right back out in front. Jones driving past Dover, took a deflection, but ultimately ends up off of Jones, the former Seattle Sounders 2-man.
Dover working so hard attacking and defensively. He's a two-way player, especially in this game with the formation that they're playing and having their outside players have to drop in and defend and become a 5-man back line. But he's been dangerous going forward, and he's also doing a great job defensively.
Bob Lilly told us this week, for a rookie, he adjusts to tactics so well. And playing 5 in the back is not something that's very common, nor playing as a wing back with 3 center backs.
Well, and he said he's just been so impressed with him, how he asserts himself and just doesn't play like a rookie. And as you said, it's difficult to just kind of change formations and whatever game matchup, whatever it brings. But as a rookie, to be able to still assert yourself and play against some of the best players in the country, it just shows how much more mature he's playing.
I'm sure by the time you finished at Virginia Tech, you could have played wing back or played in a 3-man back line or whatever it might be, right?
Well, especially if you're an outside back, you're used to attacking, because for the most part, if you want width, you want your outside backs to get forward. But it is different, especially if you're going to spend most of the game attacking rather than defending and attacking when you can. But it also makes you a lot more tired.
James playing to wall fall. Well, most would argue that Dover doesn't have enough games under his belt to say he feels tired. This just his 7th pro game, and he's battling with Jones. Bowden showing off his experience, but Dover strips it away, runs up the end line, played it towards Groff. Deflects out, and Hristoff back to take the carom. Lined up field, Felix backstopping for the Rhinos. Hristoff has his jersey tugged out. Advantage was played, and quickly it ceases to exist. And the yellow card is coming as well. Looks like Mike Garzi has picked up his 2nd of the season in his 7th game.
A yellow card caution has been issued to the Rhinos, number 13, Mike Garzi. Caution issued in the 39th minute.
Good audio if you heard it. He said, just don't do it. No, I get it, don't do it. You say it, Puerto Rican thing.
Farrell getting in on the foot of Shorn Brown. Marcel Schaefer Now Jones stepping away from Dover.
Didn't start off easy with like some PBR or something.
A foul by Jones.
Work your way over to it.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. 41st minute, Rochester taking the lead in the 27th. Wall fall. Two efforts, but eventually getting it by Matt Pickens on a rebound off a corner kick. This is lined up and over.
Another one of those shots from far out. I don't think it's necessary at that point for Vingard. I think he can establish possession, hold on to the ball, find the width, because Tampa Bay hasn't had too much rhythm for long periods of time. They've had it in little spurts, but it hasn't been a lot. So I'd like to see Vingard there just keep the ball, settle it down, and then possess.
Vingard this time lobbing it upfield towards Deshaun Brown, and play coming back as he was a bit hobbled after the fact.
And you can see they're trying to find Brown. Brown was involved in that last play, worked to get the ball, keep it for his team. He's a good target. Use him. If they can find him, find his feet and then build off of him. Or find his feet and let him turn and go at goal. He's a good player. Use him as a target.
Brown twice led the Rapids in goals. The 6th overall pick to Colorado in the 2013 MLS Super Draft. Just exasperated Matthew Franz right now, trying to corral the ball back to where it needs to be. Farrell ushers the ball out of play.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit
Well, the Rhinos, the team looking a bit more at home right now. They're playing a stretch of 7 consecutive games in all competitions at home, and yet 22 days. The layoff between league games for this Rhinos team, and a bit of a scheduling anomaly.
I was 4 seconds ahead of you, bro.
And that's hard. They had a couple Open Cup games, but it's so difficult not having league play. You practice, you scrimmage. It's not the same, though. Even having Open Cup, it's just different. So it's difficult to get back in. Coach Lilly said he didn't think they were at their best against Richmond, but he hoped that they could respond with a good performance tonight.
Here's Nanshoff. Wall fall was really trying to knock him off the ball. Deshaun Brown trying to get that carom. Overrun by Vingard. Bounces off of Forbes. More white jerseys defending than black jerseys oncoming, so he turned it around, and Schaefer knocks the ball out of play. Bob Lilly, head coach of this side, trying to guide his troops, standing beside one of his rookies, Jordan Dover. On the ground for James. King. Off the head of Lowe. Brown's pass. Collects again. Bowden turned it over, but recovers. Leukemia stepped in, and Hristoff went down. It's a throw for the Rowdies.
That high pressure from Rochester is so difficult to break, especially when the passes aren't clean. It's not going to get through those players.
Fall won it. Played it up the line. Johan Groff, the pass for Canardo Forbes. Turns around and tried to play a return ball, and he falls down with Damian Lowe on his back. And Lowe, of course, needing to be careful, already playing on a yellow card. I beg your pardon, with one yellow card potentially pushing him out for the next game.
I like what Forbes is doing. He's such an energetic player. He has an extremely quick first step, but when he gets the ball, he's making his first couple quick steps, but then he's holding it up and waiting for the rest of his team. They're looking to build. I like that rather than just going direct and hitting a ball, hoping someone's going to be there. He's very poignant with what he's doing.
Forbes bounces over Bohemia, kept in play by Farrell, and he lines it across. Anshoff bombs it back to midfield. 2 minutes of added time in the opening half. Pickens went over, try and move Luke Bowden forward. Started play while the keeper was standing 25 yards outside of his own net. Vingard. And now King. Low. Probing Rochester in first half stoppage time, seeking out the last opportunity of the first 45. Fall deflected it away. And lifted toward Bohemia. He'll latch on and send the service just out of the reach. But James glides by Groff and kept it in play. Now Nanshoff. Fall slides in. Throw to the Rowdies, final seconds of the first half. And that is halftime. Right on the mark, Morgan. 1-0 to Rochester after 45. Wall Fall scoring in the 27th. What did you like in that first half?
I liked Rochester taking advantage of their opportunity. Fall staying with the play, able to finish off the ball coming back to him. But this is a bit of a slow game. Two teams that pride themselves on being high energy. I want to see that in the second half. I want to see them both assert themselves.
When we come back, we'll have a look at our first half highlights, statistics, and our upcoming ESPN schedule. Rhinos over Rowdies, 1-0 at the half.
All right, fans, time to take a quick look at our halftime stats. 3 shots so far for your Rhinos, 4 for the Rowdies. One save on the board for Tomas Gomez. 1 save on the board right now so far for Matt Pickens. 2 corners for your Rhinos, 1 for the Rowdies. 7 fouls on Rochester, 6 on Tampa Bay. And again, our score at halftime, 1-0 in favor of your Rhinos.
Focus. It's hard to keep. Everybody wants a piece of you. So don't lose it. Take your time. Work hard.
Halftime in Rochester and at Capelli Sports Stadium. It's a family affair. Rochester 1, Tampa Bay 0. Goal coming from Wall Fall in the 27th minute. Mike Watts back with Morgan Conklin. A look at our first half statistics from the game thus far. And what stands out to you through 45 minutes?
Just the pace of the game. It's been a little slower. We haven't seen, as I said before break, these two teams play their normal style with their normal tempo. In terms of looking at these stats, three of Tampa Bay's 4 shots have been outside the box. I'd like to see making that a little more accurate. Let's get a little closer. Only 1 on target. I'd like to see that a little bit better. Rochester taking advantage of their few chances. Wallfall getting on the other end of his initial shot, able to put it away, doing all the work there. But I'd just like to see a little more. It's just too slow right now.
Yeah, and Wallfall, 1 shot right to Matt Pickens. The second rebound straight to him, and he took care of business as the Rhinos have a 1-0 lead over Tampa Bay at halftime. When we come back, Dane Kelly has scored 56 goals in the United Soccer League. A look at his success, highlights as well. At the half, Rhinos 1, Rowdies 0.
Focus. It's hard to keep. Everybody wants a piece of you. So don't lose it. Take your time. Work hard. Don't give up. And when your moment comes, breathe through. And focus.
The USL's all-time leading scorer has added another accolade to his resume.
And he's got the hat trick. Dane Kelly has done it again. Back-to-back games. 3 goals for Kelly.
Dane Kelly is now the only player in USL history to score back-to-back hat tricks. Kelly notched his first 3-goal game and Reno's first win in club history.
Carries the ball ahead.
Into an attacking position. He scored in the 2nd minute. Kelly, that's 2 in 6 minutes. Kelly, he steps over and he puts it in off the post. That is a hat trick in the 66th minute.
The second occurred in front of a home crowd.
We're gonna add
Reno's
one
their
last
first
station.
ever win at Greater Nevada Field.
Finds Kelly and Dane Kelly. Goal! Kelly finds net again. Here's Kelly. And he's got the hat trick. Dane Kelly has done it again.
Kelly was honored with 2 USL Player of the Week recognitions following his back-to-back performances. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
We built the USL into the largest Division II professional soccer league in the world. And now the time has come to announce USL Division III, America's professional 3rd division league, completing the U.S. pro soccer landscape. It's time for your town, your team, your game. D3 will fuel local pride and local passion, creating a new legacy for the beautiful game and inspiring its tribal following across the country. This is professional soccer, built on a disciplined financial model and operational excellence, featuring exciting venues to thrill fans in hungry new markets yearning for the game. USL Division III, professional, passionate, proven. Pro soccer starts here, coming in 2019. For more information, visit usld3.com.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Halftime at Capelli Sports Stadium. Rochester has a 1-0 lead on this windy day in Western New York. Wall Fall, the goal scorer. We show you how it happened. First half highlights are coming up when we return on ESPN3. Halftime between Rochester and Tampa Bay, the United Soccer League game of the week on ESPN3 with two names, two logos, two fan bases very well known across North America. Mike Watts, Morgan Conklin back with you. Let's take a look at our first half highlights from this game. And I think Rochester got the better of the game early. The Rowdies took a little while to get into the game, but both teams giving opportunities to the other. This an opportunity for Farrell off the set piece. Both teams would have plenty of opportunities on set pieces in this opening 45 and plenty of physical contact as well.
Bukimia, as we said, with that great defensive tackle, tracking the ball, but Nanchoff taking one of those far-out shots we've seen a couple times from Tampa Bay so far this year.
Well, Matt Pickens quite nearly gave up a goal right here.
And he was lucky. Terrible distribution. I think he's aware of that. Happy it's over with. Nothing came from it as Dover hit that one over the bar.
Nanchoff trying from long range in the opening 45 minutes. Most of the shots for Tampa Bay came from beyond the 18-yard box. We move forward to the 27th minute. Fall brings it down. Fall tries once. Fall puts it in.
And the great ball in by Forbes. Gets over the head of a Tampa Bay defender, drops right to Fall, doesn't get the first one to go. The bounce back comes right to him, and he's able to finish the second. But just the way the ball falls right to his feet, he had too much time and then was able to follow up when it came back to him.
He was a little bit banged up after the play. He would go down but stay in the game. Third goal of the season for Wall Fall, who returns after a one-game suspension last time out. Tampa Bay seemed to ratchet up the pressure after that.
They definitely had a couple free kick opportunities all within a row. Nanchoff's service from free kicks, he had a couple corners. They were all so great. Put his team in a really good chance. Neil Collins with that great snap header. You could hear the way he connected on it, but they couldn't get anything to fall.
Opportunity there for Vingard would go without a finish. Kristoff picks up a yellow card, his fourth of the season. Forbes knocking the ball through. At times, this was a very dangerous-looking Rochester Rhinos side, although this goes all the way across the face of goal. And it is 1-0 at halftime. Our upcoming ESPN3 United Soccer League Game of the Week schedule. Well, there's some ESPN3 there, and then it's off to ESPNU. The Republic, Rio Grande Valley, end June, start of June, OKC Energy, and Phoenix Rising. Could we see the debut of Didier Drogba? And then in July, Morgan, we get two games, national TV showcase games. the Rowdies in Cincinnati at Al Lang, and then off to Toyota, San Antonio, and Oklahoma City.
I've been saying it since the first Tampa Bay-Cincinnati game. I cannot wait for that rematch. The first one, so much went into that game. This one's just been building up.
And then RGV, Orange County, and off to Nippert Stadium, and FC Cincinnati hosts at the end of July. A look around the league today. There are 4 games going on this evening. Harrisburg City and Pittsburgh. OKC Energy and Portland, Reno, and Tulsa will start late at 10:30 as Reno looking really good at Greater Nevada Field of late, scoring 10 goals and allowing none in their last 2 league games. Richmond and Toronto played earlier today. As we take a look at the Eastern Conference standings, both teams outside the top 8, regardless of that result. So these are essentially the standings as they stand. Battery in first by goal differential, and they do have a game in hand over Tampa Bay, who are sitting in second place. Louisville City saw their undefeated stretch snapped by the Rowdies at Al Lang Stadium, but back in the win column their last time out. And Pittsburgh rounding out the upper half of the playoff picture in the East. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, San Antonio and Real Monarchs battling game by game. Real Monarchs, despite having a loss to their record, have a game in hand and the ability to jump San Antonio. In the Western Conference, this is becoming a dogfight.
Those two teams just really setting themselves apart from the rest of the pack. Just 2 great teams so far. But San Antonio, who's going to give them the first loss?
That's right. And they've got Phoenix in the rearview mirror, a 1-0 win last time out, as the West has been hot throughout the USL season. Elsewhere in the USL, we've got our game of the week. Fans are certainly out in force tonight in Rochester as the Rhinos and the Rowdies prepare to go. You have the biggest grin on your face while you're watching that.
I don't know, Mike. Babies are so cute to me. You know that.
I know. I know.
Embarrassing me.
And already wearing the green, that's a future soccer fan at minimum, maybe a future soccer player at maximum. As both these markets genuinely do such a good job of developing their fan bases over such a long period of time. Meanwhile, on the field, 2 teams that have seen immense success, not just this year, but in years prior. The 2015 USL Cup champion and a team that started perfect through 3 games and are right back on their winning ways in Tampa Bay. They've got an uphill battle in this second half, down a goal to a Rhinos team that's tough to break down.
Well, in talking with Stuart Campbell earlier this week, he said when they go on the road, their goal is to get points. He said he doesn't care how it comes. Obviously, 3 points, he said, is great, but he said just getting a point is good. So their goal is to get back into this game so they can come away with at least a point on the road.
Well, and I asked him, they have just 2 wins in their last 18 road games going back to last season, all competitions, and he said, well, our last 3 games, a win and 2 really good draws. We feel like we're playing well on the road right now. They'll need to have a winning half to salvage at least a point in Rochester.
And they've been in this position coming back from a 1-0 deficit on the road, just looking at last week.
Yeah, and they score 3 quick goals against Toronto FC2 and run away with it. As Lowe was run over by Groff.
Ryan Miller used to stand there and do some little zen thing on the bench and squeeze a nut of him and stick 13 times.
Lowe out of the back.
6 goals and do the same thing the next game.
Rowdies this year have allowed just 2 goals in the second half of play. And they've found ways to score. In the second 45 is Groff lifting the ball over toward Dover. Just out of the reach of the rookie wingback. Already you're seeing a little more pace out of Tampa Bay, even off the goal kick, getting the ball back in play quickly as Dover arrives to steal it. Forbes on the turn.
Yeah, you know, Pay attention to the game.
King collides with James, who throws it in quickly for the Rhinos. Bohemia tried to get it through the legs of Lowe, went down easily, and now the whistle comes. At the same time, player down in King.
From our angle, it didn't look like much at first, but it looked like King and Bohemia just got tangled up on the way down after the fact.
Just looked like Lowe just sort of threw his hand into the chest of Bohemia and just sort of pushed him further, and the two metaphorically hugging it out after the fact. And both are back to their feet. Here's Luke Bowden. Pratzner. Ristoff was moving in. Forbes for Groff. Ristoff. Lifted up by Pratzner. And over to Pickens. Hey fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast, Mondays 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. And don't forget, Sirius XM FC airs the United Soccer League Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. This is the United Soccer League Game of the Week. Mike Watts, Morgan Conklin. Rochester taking a 1-0 lead back in the 27th minute as Wall falls, scoring his third of the year. Nardo Forbes with a head of steam. Neil Collins taking it away.
Great stand-up defending by Collins. You could see Forbes trying to set him up to cut it back out wide, but Collins just standing his ground, didn't go for it at all.
No, he had so much poise there. It's like he knew what was coming.
Well, he almost looked like he was caught too upright and that it would be easy for Forbes to get around him, but in reality, it was a simple tackle for Collins.
As Bowden shouting for the ball, and finally it finds his waiting foot. It's Vingard. Nanshoff lines it over the top. Ristoff was the target. Gomez off his line.
That's something that has been lacking. Nanshoff getting the ball, a quick turn. You could see him take a quick peek, and then he plays it to Ristoff. I like that. That's something that we didn't see much in the first half. There wasn't the quick decision-making to play the final ball. It was too slow. So that's something I want to continue to see, is the quick decision-making and finding the runs.
Maybe no better target than Georgi Ristoff to aim at. 2 goals in his last 7 games after starting with 3 in 3 games. Felix turned his back to King, and the ball bounces off of him. There's Vingard. Pass stripped away by Dover, who glides ahead and plays it through. Forbes brings it down. Lowe has arrived. Pickens knocks the ball away before the danger closed in.
Dover playing so many roles throughout this game. Defensively, he's been strong. Playing a little bit of a playmaker there, able to dribble forward and then trying to find the ball to Forbes.
That wingback, they really talked him up during our call this week, and I wasn't sure he'd live up to expectation, and he has. There's Dover on the ball again. Dover lining the ball across, too high. Bohemia.
Well, and talking about Dover, he has big shoes to fill in terms of the attacking end without Francois on the field, who has been so dangerous going forward, has had fantastic service just up and down that line. So he has had really big shoes to fill on the attacking end.
And he looks up to the task thus far. As the foul with King involved. Darnell King is kind of learning this right back position. Called to task by the referee, Matthew Franz.
No. That was 3 seconds more to move.
What a dangerous weapon Canardo Forbes is in moments like this, Morgan.
And with the targets that Rochester has, Forbes takes great free kicks. He's able to really whip it in. And just with the bodies they have on the other end of it.
Lined through the wall, bounces off of Pratzner. Low, breaks free. That's a terrific touch into space by Jones. Dover is running back. Forbes on the back of Jones, who falls down. And no whistle.
I was going to say that's a smart foul there by Forbes, allowing his team to get back, but the referee didn't even call it, so play goes on.
And that's one where if Dover gets behind, at least you can argue that you didn't stop an obvious goal-scoring chance, and Dover looked like he crossed that line, but the foul never came.
But on the other end of that, if Forbes isn't going to be called for that foul, they need to keep the ball. There's no need to knock it back to Tampa Bay if you get a lucky break there and aren't called for a foul.
Bob Lilly shouting at the assistant up on the line, it appears. There's Lilly on the right. Success wherever he's gone. He has developed players time and time again. Not a lot of faces remain from that 2015 title team. 4-time USL Coach of the Year. And it looked like a yellow card came. Yellow card to Damian Lowe. That is his 5th of the season, so it appears he'll be out the game against St. Louis on the 27th of May. It looked like it came for dissent. So potentially, it appears, major loss for Tampa Bay in their next contest.
Such an unnecessary way to get a yellow card. It's just not needed.
And one wonders if that'll come back to bite the Rowdies. He has been so integral to their central defense with Collins over the course of this season.
Well, when we were talking with Stuart Campbell, he was just saying he's been one of the main reasons why this Tampa Bay team has had so many clean sheets. So he's such a big part of that back line with Neil Collins, and he spoke so highly about how the two of them balance each other out, how Collins is more veteran, helps out the younger Lowe. Just spoke to the type of player Lowe is, but as you said, puts them in a bit of a difficult position, now potentially not having Lowe for the next game.
Vingard playing it upfield. Lowe leading the way for this Rowdies team in interceptions. According to Opta, 40 on the year as he plays the ball to Collins. And now Luke Bowden. King charging up the line. Bohemia cuts him off. Played through by Bowden. Ushered by Farrell all the way to Gomez. Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com.
Micro programs are a jump start to an active lifestyle. Programs start at age 2 where kids learn the fundamentals of team sports in a fun and friendly environment.
Wrist off for Brown.
Sports.com.
No Joe Cole in the lineup tonight, did not travel. Justin Chavez is unavailable as well with a toe injury. Forbes trying to round past Bowden. He does. Keeps it in on the line. And Collins steps in, and Bowden kicks the ball up and over the bleachers, it appeared.
Good ball in, finding Forbes, so dominant down that line. Gets around Bowden pretty easily. Just stays with it, fights through the tackle. But Neil Collins is a different story. He cannot get by him. So big, uses his body well, positions his body in the best position to not allow Forbes play that ball.
Forbes earning the corner and taking it. Bounces out. Dover off of Lowe. Bounds wide. Vingard being tugged toward the corner flag by Forbes.
Vingard doing a nice job of using his body. He knows Forbes is going to fight to get around him for that ball. He knows it's not going to go out of bounds easily, but he stays with it and uses his body well.
Vingard's such a strong player at the international level, playing in Champions League and Europa League over the years in Europe. Lifted up by Nanshoff, who tumbles over, and now the foul comes as the Rowdies had reversed field. He's shouting in pain. That has Matthew Franz waving toward the touchline and the Rowdy trainer.
Gets in for a battle with Garzi. Just the way he lands, tries to catch himself, lands in a tough position.
Nanshaw, first-round pick to Vancouver in the MLS Super Draft in 2011. Played in the 2013 U.S. Open Cup for Caleb Porter in Portland, and actually played against Stuart Campbell, who really came away impressed by what Nanshaw brought to the table. When his time with the Whitecaps was up, it was a bit of an easy call for Campbell to bring Nanshaw into the equation. He's impressed over the course of this season. They're looking at that right arm. The United Soccer League is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting USLsoccer.com. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at USL. Nanshoff on his way off now. And that's a bit disappointing if you're the Rowdies, not just because you'll miss Nanshoff, but because he was playing in the position that Chavez had vacated due to his toe injury picked up last week.
And it looks like he's about to go back in, which is a really good sign, especially knowing in this next game they're going to be without Lowe. So injuries or having to sit out, it's starting to build up. So it's good to see Nanshoff at the center line ready to come back in.
It really is quite wild how many games this Rowdies team has played between this May 13th to June 22nd stretch. Call it about 40 total dates. There's a portion of that stretch where days of rest go 2-2, 4-2, 3-3. It's incredible, really, as the ball slides away from Farrell. And in this case, the Rowdies are considered maybe the more well-rested team, having played on Friday. Oh, and there is Nanshoff, to your point. Back into the game. And a Collins, and it's Gomez, the 6'2" goalkeeper, who arrives.
Credit the Rochester defenders on that, boxing out the Tampa Bay attackers, trying to get to the ball, really just using their bodies and creating a path for Gomez to come out and get that ball.
And for Gomez, he really went into a sea of people there, and there's some guys a little taller than him on this Rowdies team among field players. Lengthy pass that Ristoff brings down, but he was over the offside line. Sub coming for the Rowdies. Alex Morrell will come on for Darwin Jones. Jones, who had such a great preseason for the side, making his 6th start and coming off, and Morrell will come off the bench for the 4th time this year. First sub for either side.
For your Rochester Rhinos, entering the match, number 10, Sofian Turgu.
Meanwhile, Sofian Turgu has come on for Rochester.
Substitution also in the 63rd.
So both teams beginning to show their cards substitution-wise in the 63rd minute.
Well, and it's nice to see that Tampa Bay substitution not taking Nanshoff out. It's good to see that he's okay to continue to play, and also because he's been great on the ball tonight. He's given them some of their chances when he plays quick, looks forward. His service has been incredible like always. So that's a really good sign to see him still in the game.
And you know, we spoke this week with Bob Lilly, and he says it's a bit of a spoils of riches, an embarrassment of riches, the number of players they have in terms of depth. Chavez goes down, and you just bring back in Michael Nanshoff.
No big deal.
No big deal. Joe Cole unavailable tonight, and, well, Georgie Ristoff was coming off the bench. Let's just have him start.
Okay.
Headed back, and Gomez there as Morrell with fresh legs charging in. And then you have Morrell, who comes in for Darwin Jones, and those two can be interchangeable at times on the wings as the ball headed toward Ristoff. Turned over as it went flying by Garzi. Through ball bounds back. Morrell brings it to his left. Slides it over to Ristoff. Now Schaefer. Over the foot of King, and the pressure for the Rowdies comes up empty.
That was one of the first times I've seen either outside back get forward. Nothing came out of it, but the fact that King at least made the run, that's a good sign. And he made the run, and they looked to find him. That's another really good sign. So this Tampa Bay team has started to look for the long balls to find Ristoff. They found Morrell just a second ago, getting forward. Now they're adding the outside backs. It's starting to build up, and they're adding more to their attack.
And Bob Lilly said he wanted to get his fullbacks forward, but admitted the Rowdies are known for getting their fullbacks up the field.
Well, and it's good as well because with this 5-back, 3-back, 5-back system that Rochester's playing, if Tampa Bay can send their backs forward, it forces those Rochester players to hold and drop, and they can't get forward in transition because they have players to mark.
As Vingard clears the midfield line for the Rowdies, Morrell tried to spin away. Felix got a piece, then the slide in from Turgu. Nanshoff on the ball again. Everybody pointing to the opposite side of the field, trying to stretch out this very compact Rhinos defense.
Well, and that's the way to beat them, is to stretch them out.
Big collision between James and King. The foul seeded by King and won by James. Of course, easier said than done. You see King trotting back. He was finally getting forward. He's pinned back a little more. When you go at times 5 across in the back, there is no room left, right?
Right, but that's why the run coming from the outside back can just be a different look, because if you're going on the right side, you have Darnell King coming forward around Alex Morel. It allows Morel to either bring his run central, or King can do a big overlap run off the field, and you can look to find him in the corner. So you're right, there isn't a lot of space, but it's just, it allows for more creativity because there has to be movement off the ball to create the space.
Nanshaw, the quick restart, is Brown trying to reach by his defender. Nanshaw nods the ball out. And a stoppage as a substitution coming on. Vingard will check out for the Rowdies, and he's racing to the line to get Martin Patterson back in. He subbed in the 79th minute against Toronto FC2 and scored a minute later last time out in that comeback 3-1 victory on Friday night. Garzi recovering. Roth. Sliding challenge from Turgu. And now here's Damian Lowe. Marcel Schaefer and now Bowden. Two have traded places over the last 6 games. 3 at that left back position for Schaefer. Now back into central midfield with Bowden feeling healthy, vibrant once again. Bowden the extra pass, wrist off. Cleared right to the foot of Ristoff. Forbes on the run, takes a high hop. Lowe is coming, heads it straight into the turf. Van Pickens pulls it in.
Nice recovery there. Lowe just able to cover ground. Forbes coming with pace as well, but Lowe's able just to take that angle and really cover ground to get there.
That was quite the race. It was taken away and out of the foot of Forbes. Roth given more space than he's typically seen tonight. Garzi, his pass ripped away by Morel. Schaefer. Defensive header comes out to the Rhinos. Fall, Forbes. All over the top that Pickens pulls in. Hey fans, today's match plays an important role in the close relationship between MLS and the USL to test the use of a video assistant referee, or VAR. VAR will be implemented during key match-changing situations and serious missed incidents on the field. For more information, uslsoccer.com/VAR. Slide in by Farrell was perfect. Clearance as King slid down by James. And James waiting to see his punishment.
James shouldn't be surprised that that's a foul. Doesn't get ball whatsoever. Too late to the tackle, but King joining this attack has brought a completely different element for Tampa Bay. It has just grown their attack in the second half. It's bringing energy because he's working hard to get forward. This has been a different team.
You said maybe 5 minutes ago was the first time, maybe even 10 minutes ago, that you saw King get forward.
And he's continued a couple times since, which has been nice. It hasn't been long spurts without him getting forward. He's adding that into the attack.
Nanshaw is standing on the right-hand side away from the ball. Runners making their move. Ball played towards the net. Two-fisted punch that has Bowden trailing away from the net. He curls the ball back across. Roth. King widens the play. Service off the head of Fall. Shoren Brown tried to hold up play, and he's fouled by Turgu.
First look, I don't agree with that foul. I didn't see it from our angle. I'll have to take a look at it again. Maybe it was the way Turgu came in to the tackle, but it just looked like two players going for the ball. Neither timed it very well, but from our angle, I couldn't completely see it.
The Rowdies are going to get the opportunity regardless of whether it's truly warranted. Nanshoff, right to Gomez.
All right, Rhino fans, your attention, please. Tonight's winning Camp Good Things 50-50 raffle ticket is about to be announced. So get those raffle tickets.
Morrell won the initial ball. Schaefer moving forward.
3, 2, 1, 8.
Wrist off. That was let through for Brown, who tried to spin onto it. That would have been a jaw-dropping dummy if it had made its way through.
I love that early ball from Ristov. And then, like you said, the dummy got me. I didn't think it was going to be let go. But that early ball was so nice because you didn't expect it. And then you didn't expect the dummy.
And that's the thing about the Rowdies. They're very creative. They're very offensively gifted. No one would argue that. They have the talent, and they do different things, it seems, most of the time down the field. They're not all too predictable.
And it makes it fun to watch.
I enjoyed that. Dover slices inside. Bowden knocked it away. Came to Ristov, and now Collins. Now the push is on for the Rowdies to try and break free from the pressure of the Rhinos. 27th minute goal from Wall Fall. A corner kick that fell kindly. His first shot stopped by Pickens. His second would not be denied.
No. Like football?
Pushed ahead. Patterson able to keep it in. Farrell plays out of danger. A all-USL pick as a rookie last year out of LaSalle. Hey fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune in to USL Coast to Coast, Mondays 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. Of course, the game of the week broadcast as well on Sirius XM FC. Check USLsoccer.com for all the dates and times. About a quarter of an hour to go here as the Rowdies try and take a point back on the road. Turgu gets it back in an offside position for Johan Groff.
Like a four-man crew, or what is it?
Rowdies unbeaten in 4 straight in the league. They started off 3-0-0. They're atop the East. Point tonight. Put them ahead of Charleston, who have the edge by technicality. A game in hand and goal differential a third of the way through the season. For Tampa Bay, they can catapult back into the edge of the playoff picture, but 3-4 games in hand on most teams in the Eastern Conference, having played just 6 times. Bowden curls the ball across, headed wide. Was it Patterson who put the final touch on the ball?
That ball knocked out to Bowden, and he has way too much time. He's able to pick up his head, find Patterson on the far side. Way too much time there. And then on the other end of that, Patterson has too much time. He's able to get in front of his defender and really isn't under pressure at all.
And he's scored 2 late goals this season. He's scored in the 89th against Louisville, and he scored in the 80th in the last game against TFC too. He collides the Rochester player, looked like Felix, and now the whistle is given. And a free kick for the Rowdies that Patterson wins.
Well, this Rochester back line and just defensive group has to be careful because these Rowdies players are quick. So if they have the first touch around you, which most of the time they are because they have great first touches as well, you can't just go in for a tackle because you're going to get body, you won't get ball, and it will give them a free kick in a great position. Well, guess what? They have Michael Nanshoff on the ball, and he can send in a fantastic ball to the box. So those free kicks need to not be given up if you're Rochester.
If you're Nanshoff, you are aiming.
Back post, curling it. Find Collins.
Nanshoff played it low, and Patterson apparently touched that last. And indeed a goal kick. The way Collins was backing away towards the post made me think that you had the right idea there.
Well, he's been the target so far, and he hasn't been able to be stopped. He hasn't found the back of the net yet this game, but he's connected on a lot of those chances.
And won a real bullet right at Gomez, where if he had maybe angled it slightly better, it could have been 1-1.
That's Antonio Correa.
Georgi Ristov trying to find that tying goal. As Correa comes on for Groff, who put in a lot of work tonight. Interesting, I think, that Rochester decides to bring in another forward to try and hold up play rather than maybe make a more defensive-minded substitution, even if they do have 5 in the back.
I agree with what you're saying, but they also defend with a full 11, so it's not like they have the one striker staying way high. Groff was involved in the defensive half, and then Correa is going to have the same exact responsibility. So look for him to still get behind the ball. So I see what you're saying, but they're still bringing in a player with defensive responsibilities.
Correa's second appearance with the club, played 22 minutes in the 1-1 draw against Richmond last time out. Low. Turgu. No whistle as a couple players collided. Lifted toward Correa, and Lowe pulls it back. Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. 80 minutes gone. Rochester a 1-goal lead over Tampa Bay. A 7-game homestand for the Rhinos, one where so far they are unbeaten. Playing on a short layoff. Last in the game on Sunday against Richmond and back on the field on Wednesday, and it looked like Nanshoff went in with 2 legs and draws the yellow card.
I was just going to say that Tampa Bay was doing a great job of moving the ball quickly and moving off the ball, but then an unnecessary giveaway happened. Nanshoff getting called for the foul. I agree with it. Don't think it was intentional. I think he was trying to stay with the ball as he didn't have the best first touch. But the build up to that, the way that Tampa Bay was moving off the ball and just how they were finding one another quickly, that's what they've been lacking. That's what they lacked in the first half, and they found more of it in the second half.
Rowdies team that really has played better in the second half than the first after conceding in the 27th. The Rhinos coming out and being proactive the way that Bob Lilly asked them to, off a game where he felt his team wasn't very sharp, that 1-1 draw on Sunday afternoon. Ball played through. It's Dover who shoots, deflected. Pickens there low with the potential goal-saving tackle. course, Lowe playing on a yellow card. Dangerous, dangerous, and yet slid in there and got the block.
And Lowe has had to slide over and get into a couple tackles with Dover more often than you would think, with Lowe being a right center back and Dover being a right mid on the other side.
That was a fortunate initial ricochet, although Ristoff couldn't take over.
Dover just getting forward, a nice through ball played in, just splits the center backs. He looks for the far post, but like he said, Lowe just closing that space, able to block the shot.
Whistle against Forbes. Bowden draws the contact.
$5 Jenny beer and wine specials will restart in the beer garden after the conclusion of our match. Don't forget, fans, the Royal Rhino will remain open with a limited menu. It's right here, right after the match at Capelli Stadium. Capelli Sports Stadium hosting tonight's post-match party in the beer garden.
Bowden and Ristoff playing off each other well. Ball for Brown taken out. And Forbes playing to Correa. Forbes slicing behind the defense. Collins in pursuit. Forbes goes one-on-one. Drives the end line. The two collide. Out over the end line. Corner for Canardo Forbes.
Mike, it was great seeing Bowden get forward, but when that ball turned over, that's when Tampa Bay is in trouble because they don't have that left back in position, and you know Dover is going to be sprinting forward. So that diagonal ball to play him in was on. The right decision completely, but Dover doesn't have a clean enough first touch to be able to go directly to goal. It's what allows Collins to get into position and then forces Dover to dribble away from the goal.
Forbes an out swinger. Garzi stepped in. Turgu offside. Forbes wasn't able to toe the line quite well enough. So Tampa Bay will get the ball back in the 85th minute. This is a game where Rochester was asked to play a bit better. Bob Lilly told us during the week that no one had to explain who the Rowdies are, the players and names on their roster, but more than anything, he just wanted them to be more sharp than that game against Richmond on Sunday, that 1-1 draw. Farrell. Forbes gliding through again, this time waiting for help. Now crosses the ball. And a poor first touch lets down Correa. Morrell trying to throw. It did not belong to the Rowdies. Garzi. Low. And Turgu belongs to the Rowdies. The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting USLsoccer.com. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at USL. Tremendous news this week. Over 500,000 have passed through the gates, a 30% increase year over year. Through week 9 in the USL, 91% increase in social media engagement. Minutes watched on YouTube up significantly as well. And what is the most completely fascinating season of USL play yet. The Rowdies in their first year in the USL. The Rhinos, one of its biggest names. Locking horns in this one. This is hit from long range by Schaefer. Swerves over the bar.
And that's a ball in the first half going this direction we would have seen get caught up in the wind, but obviously not the case there. Schaefer can't get it to fall, and it doesn't find the far post.
So Gomez looking to put it back in play and maybe draw his third shutout through 7 games between the pipes. Felix. Brown. Farrell's ball sneaks by Morrell. Low for Patterson. Patterson tried to find Brown. It was just behind his run. Forbes. And now Numbers. Correa playing it back. Forbes is caught up. Garzi going up the line. Turgu fires it low. Pickens able to handle that with ease.
I love that initial flick by Forbes. Correa doesn't help him too much playing it back. I think they were looking to go the other way with that, but Forbes still making his impact on this game 89 minutes later.
He really is something else. He's been tremendous for this team now 3 years running, and when the offense is going, Bob Lilly says it runs through Canardo Forbes.
And I'm so impressed just with his work ethic. Anytime the ball's around him, I said earlier, he has that burst of speed his first couple steps, but even defensively, the way he covers ground, just a high work rate and brings the energy.
Slid out by James, and a substitution coming as we enter the 90th minute of play at Capelli Sports Stadium in Western New York.
Entering the match is number 25,
Sergio Campbell comes on, 6'4" defender.
Substitution in the 90th minute.
And that's enough.
Fans, as a reminder, the clock will stop at the 90-minute mark and stoppage time to be kept on the field.
There are now, if I'm counting right, 4 center backs on the field for Rochester.
Just look at that back line. They could cover from sideline to sideline.
It's like a game of Red Rover
I was
right
just
now.
going to say, if they hold hands, they'll cover the whole field.
Numbers back as the Rowdies stymied offensively this evening. Flag is up. Into stoppage time. 2 minutes of added time in the second half. Rowdies working hard, reaping the rewards over the last 4 USL games. Their unbeaten streak in jeopardy now, down a goal. Brown lifted that, and Gomez backtracks. Joe Cole, Justin Chavez unavailable tonight, neither traveling. But the Rowdies unable to find the back of the net against this staunch Rochester team. Forbes, Dover. Dover looks down the center and cuts it back. Correa was the target. First, the Rowdies have to defend this corner kick, and then they have to hope they have enough time to get upfield for one more try.
Dover all over the place. You can see him try to pick out Correa there, but just great defense dropping back as Schaefer.
Turgu standing next to Forbes. Here we go. Down went Turgu. Maybe one more chance here for Tampa Bay. Of course, the clock not up in the stadium. Only the referees got the watch. Tampa Bay directly getting forward. Throw to Rochester, full time. The Rhinos pick up a 1-0 win over Tampa Bay in their first ever meeting in the United Soccer League's regular season. As Wall Fall's 27th minute goal stands up, Morgan.
Refreshing having him back with the team, that's for sure, for Rochester. A different look from them tonight, extremely defensive. Tampa Bay just couldn't figure it out, and a good bounce back game from Rochester, who weren't completely happy with their game against the Kickers.
So the Rowdies have their 4-game unbeaten streak snapped. Rhinos a winner. We wrap it up when we come back.
Focus. It's hard to keep. Everybody wants a piece of you. So don't lose it. Take your time. Work hard. Don't give up. And when your moment comes, breathe through and focus.
Fans, don't forget, because Wall Fall did score tonight, you win. Bring your match ticket tomorrow to any Rochester area Lowe's Southwest Grill and receive 50% off any menu entree. The offer is only valid for 1 day only, and that date is tomorrow. Be sure to join the Rhinos on the field before the post-game party. Meet and greet takes place on the field in just a little bit. Enter the field intersection in the 101. Food, gum, or beverages not permitted on the field. Again,
full time in the United Soccer League Game of the Week on ESPN3. The Rochester Rhinos at home pick up a 1-0 win in the midst of their 7-game homestand and send the Tampa Bay Rowdies back to St. Petersburg with a 1-0 loss. Mike Watts back with Morgan Conklin as we take a look at our full-time highlights from this affair. Bob Lilly's side were looking to be proactive. They were looking to be aggressive. And in the early going, it was mission accomplished. They really did push the tempo of the game.
Well, and they needed energy, and they definitely had that on all sides. Tampa Bay started with some energy. They slowed down a bit. Nanchoff got in a good position with a nice shot early on, but the game obviously changed a lot with Wallfall. Hits his first shot, the rebound comes right back to him off Pickens' block. He's able to follow it up and put that one away.
He was injured, but he would stay in the game. 27th minute, and it's his 3rd goal of the year for the German defender. Move forward, Tampa Bay had their opportunities. This right to Gomez, and a couple of these set pieces came dangerously close, including Nanchoff finding Neil Collins.
Well, and Rochester's lucky that Tampa Bay didn't put one away. Coming from Nanchoff, and then, as you said, Collins, connecting on a lot of set pieces throughout the game.
Forbes trying to sneak through. Lowe had to clean up a lot of messes tonight.
A common sight throughout this game. Lowe tracking back, making defensive runs to clear the ball.
Gomez reaching out before Collins. Again, the target could get to the ball. We continue on in the second half, and late it was seemingly Tampa Bay trying to defend the counter more than anything.
Once again, though, Damian Lowe covering ground, coming from his spot. Just a very calm play, able to head the ball back to Pickens.
Bowden playing the ball across the face of goal. Patterson winding it wide. One of the better opportunities late for the Rowdies.
And in the second half, it's when they got their outside backs forward and were really able to generate different types of attack. They were able to find the ball wide and try to build rather than just going forward all the time.
Really impressive performance from Dover.
All over the place. Defensively, fantastic, but on the attacking end, he was difficult to stop.
Turgu getting forward, late opportunity to try and double the lead. Didn't quite have the finish necessary as Captain Canardo Forbes sees his side pick up a 1-0 win and pick up 10, 11, and 12 points of the year. They're now 3 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws. Here are the full-time stats.
Tampa Bay able to really extend their possession in the second half. They had 66% of the possession just in the second half. Took them a little too long to really find their momentum and get going. Second half definitely the better of the two, but just couldn't put anything away.
The Battery are tied with the Rowdies atop the East, and the two with 20 points apiece. See the Battery with 2 games in hand. Let's take a look at the upcoming ESPN3 Game of the Week schedule as you see the iconic Kodak building in Rochester, Oklahoma City, and Phoenix Rising. Could we see Drogba debut? Koenig traded from Oklahoma City, making big waves to FC Cincinnati in past weeks. That's going to be a really good Western swing for the E3 Game of the Week in June.
I wonder if they'll wait that long.
To get Drogba in?
You think?
Maybe. Who knows? And 2 ESPNU games. We're ecstatic to see Tampa Bay and Cincinnati.
Absolutely. Those will be good ones.
So that should do it for us here in this edition of the USL Game of the Week. For producer Abraham Aponte, director Jim Clark, Jason Brown, and analyst Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts saying so long on Capelli Sports Stadium. Collins unable to put it by Gomez. He picks up his 3rd shutout. Wallfall has his 3rd goal. The Cards were coming. Low, tremendous, but it's the Rhinos picking up a 1-0 win over the Rowdies. Thanks for watching the Rhinos. Their 7-game homestand continues in good fortune. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.